Leadership Webinar of 2011. All of the attendees are muted by default to help minimize background noise and other distractions. I have the mask switch for all of you, and I apologize for this. And I will need to unmute you in order for you to speak. If you wish to speak or ask a question out loud, you do have a way to raise your hand, an orange hand you can raise to get my attention, and I'll call you when we have a break. Otherwise, type in a question. I'll put those to the panelists. We are recording this event, and it should be available on our website tomorrow if you missed any of the content or want to share the program with others. Before we get started, I do want to make sure that we thank our sponsor, SRAM, the sponsor Club Leadership Webinars and the trainings that we've done live. And now I'd like to introduce President of the League of American Bicyclists, Andy Clark, to get us started tonight.
Well, thank you, Scott, and I apologize if it's me that's causing the interference. I'm not quite sure why, and if I need to hang up and call in by phone, I guess I can do that if that would make things easier. So, Scott, just let me know what I should be doing. I wanted to start the evening by saying thank you to everyone for attending and signing up. This is one of a series of seminars that we think and hope are being useful to clubs to enable them to be to be better at doing the job of being a bike club and a bike club leader, whether you're on the board or one of the key volunteers for a club. We hope that these seminars are proving useful to you, and if you have any suggestions as to what we should be covering in them, please let us know. Tonight's topic obviously is on the marketing and promotion side of things, and I just wanted to talk about two things really in terms of marketing and promotion. Some of you have heard me say this before, but I happen to believe that bike clubs and bike shops are two of the most important pieces of the bike movement, because you are the place where people experience bicycling firsthand. If people want someone to ride with, if they want a bike, if they want to get their bike fixed, they rely on bike clubs and bike shops for that first point of contact with the bicycling world. And if they have a good time and enjoy it, they will stick with it and enjoy all the benefits of cycling that you and I know and love. If they have a bad time, we may lose them. We may lose them to video games or to lacrosse or to some other activity. So it's really important that clubs and shops and the organizations that support them, like the League, are really on our game when we're dealing with people. So the marketing and promotion side of the club's activities is really, very important. So the two things I want to talk about to illustrate that are number one, the marketing and promotion of clubs is really important, the work you do in that area, because you are the face of bicycling. You're the image that people have when they're sitting in their cars or they're sitting on the train going home at night. You as a club member and a club rider are sort of the visible face of cycling, and that carries with it some responsibilities and some great opportunities, and we need to take advantage of both of those. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the behavior and the face of cycling or the ugly side of cycling that people often see or think of. That's the subject of another topic of our education program and other issues. But we certainly always need to be conscious of the fact that we are, like it or not, the face, and will therefore be considered responsible for cycling as a whole in our communities. I think more relevant to today's topic is that we also, I think, need to make a better job of telling people what an incredible job we do in the community. If you think of all the rides and activities that you put on, the events that you're part of, the rides that may not be yours but you sponsor or are partners with, it's an incredible commitment to your community that I think is a story that doesn't get told and doesn't get told very well. And I think we need to do a better job of making sure people realize what we're contributing collectively to the community. And it always blows me away to go to a club meeting and discover the level of support and activity that many of you have towards community events, whether you're buying bikes for underserved kids or supporting police programs or buying bike racks or joining and supporting charity rides. It's really extraordinary, and every one of those is an opportunity to tell your story and promote the work that you're doing. And you're also an incredible resource that people should know about in the community. I would wager that there are few people that know a community better than people who have ridden it as extensively as many of you as club riders have. That is a huge resource, and the opportunity you provide for people to explore and discover their community and indeed their own abilities is again an incredible resource that we don't talk about enough because we are collectively just too shy and retiring. So what we're talking about tonight is overcoming some of that shyness and talking up the things that we do, so that the second point I want to make is that we can build your club and build the bicycling movement much more effectively, and we can be a bigger, stronger movement as a whole. And the main way that we've done that in the past, the main kind of focus of a lot of that activity that Scott wanted me to talk about very briefly, is National Bike Month and all the events that go into to Bike Month, including Bike to Work Day, because these are really the perfect opportunities to showcase what you as a club and you as a movement have to offer, and they're a perfect way to build your club with new members, new volunteers, new programs, new events, new activities. And the best place to find out more about that is when I stop talking and when the webinar is over, is on the League website, and there's a Bike Month kit and a Bike to Work event organizers kit that I think is a good resource, and our other panelists are going to talk more about some of those other resources. But for the last 50 years or so, the League designated May as National Bike Month, and the third Friday each May is Bike to Work Day. And the opportunity is there to really use that as an excuse to put on events and activities to bring people into the sport of cycling and to take advantage of all its many benefits. So I would encourage you to do that and learn from the tips and techniques that our panelists are going to talk about tonight to take advantage of those opportunities. Whether it's simply rebranding your existing club events and activities to Bike Month, or really consciously putting on a program of events starting at the start of the month with events that may focus on repair and maintenance and getting the bike out of the garage again after the winter, through to more ambitious rides like biking to work and doing longer rides at the end of the month. There's a lot of opportunity there to use Bike Month as a way to bring people into the club and into the sport of cycling. So that is sort of the background and the reason, one of the reasons and ways that we think we can provide some help in a framework for promoting cycling, promoting their activities, marketing the activities that you engage in. But there's no better way to discover that than hearing firsthand from people in the field who are actually doing it, not just us at the national level that talk about doing it. So it's my pleasure to welcome to the program this evening Greg Billing, who's with the Washington Area Bicyclists Association, who do an extraordinary job in the D.C. area and the D.C. metro area of putting on a wide range of events and activities for their members and the broader public. And I don't care what anyone says, they are not cursed with bad weather. It's just an unfortunate coincidence. And Greg, I don't know if that's part of your presentation as to how you assuage the weather gods to make your events successful, but I certainly know that you do a fantastic job of promoting and marketing events and activities in the club, and you've got a lot to share with us this evening. So Greg, I'll hand over to you.
Well, thank you, Andy. I'm going to take a minute just to pull up the presentation, and that's definitely a helpful piece of any event, especially in bicycling, is having great weather. So anytime that you can make that happen for your events, I would highly recommend doing it. Let's just see. There we go. Hopefully everyone's seeing that. Thank you again to the League for having me come and present. My name is Greg Billing. I'm the outreach coordinator for the League of American, for the Washington Area Bicyclists Association here in DC. A little bit about me. I have about 5 years of experience in marketing and web design for a variety of different nonprofits and academic organizations. I worked at my alma mater at Cornell. For their outdoor ed program, I worked for a nonprofit doing environmental work, and now for the Washington Area Bicyclists Association. My first year I was working for WABA, I was there, worked in events, so primarily focused on planning and promoting and running events for WABA, and then also have moved more towards the marketing and outreach side. So have some experience on both sides of events, both the logistics and the organizing and getting people there and getting water and plenty of snack bars and Cliff Bars for everybody, but also now from a little bit step back side from the emails and the websites and getting everybody there, make sure everyone knows when the event's happening. So a little bit of both sides. I'm also a new LCI, so I'm high number up there in the 3,000s, but I think that it's, I'm proud to have that. So a little bit about WABA. I've already used that silly word a couple of times, so let me let you know what that is. The Washington Area Bicyclists Association is a regional advocacy and education organization, 72, so we're coming up on 40 years of advocating and educating. We serve the District of Columbia and then counties in both Maryland and Virginia. We have a challenging job here with three states, if you will, and then many counties, many cities, and then the federal government on top of that. So we are advocating and education work. It's very complicated here in DC, but it's well worth it. We have over 4,000 members,
Greg,
and then another 25,000 supporters. Yes.
we're having trouble seeing your slides there. I can hear you. We're having trouble seeing your slides there, cut off on top. I don't know if there's anything you can do with your screen.
Okay, let me see. Let me see if I can fix that. Give me 1 second here.
Okay.
Just
Still seeing really the lower half of your monitor. Right now it cuts up just above the words Bike to Work Day on the title of the slide. It was looking okay when we were trying it out half an hour ago, but at this point.
all right. Let's see. How about now?
I don't see any change. Sorry, everyone.
Let's quickly. You want to take the screen back for just a second there?
Sure, let's try that. I think that's a good idea. Are you okay? I've tried handing back to you. So that's
Just
okay.
Fixing up the.
Thanks for bearing with us, everybody. YouTube webinar is usually very good to us. These work very well in the past. I don't know why we're having challenges tonight, but I hope that it'll be smooth sailing very soon. That looks more promising. That looks good to me. If anybody is having trouble, send me a question or a chat, but I say go for it. I've got one or two people saying it looks good now. So roll on, Greg. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Scott, for stopping me there. We actually had Verizon at our office this morning tearing up the streets as they usually do here in DC, and they broke our internet and broke our phone lines, so we've been scrambling all day to get back online. So kind of goes to one of my last points when we get there. A little bit about WABA again. We're 9 full staff members, so take that into consideration as some of the things that I'll illustrate. We have some people working on things here, but I'm going to do my best to give you guys some tips and things that are a little bit easier to do, fast, free, or very cheap. So I want to make sure that I give you something to do, something new to try. Remember these dates. May is Bike to Work month, as Andy said, and Bike to Work Day is May 20th, 2011, actually, not 2010. It's good to know these dates. It's good to know, have it in the top of your head that when these events are, people will ask you. You need to be able to spit it out right there. Bike to Work Day in DC is a large event. We've got over 30 years of doing this event, so a lot of experience, and I know that it's different in every city. San Francisco's event is an evening event. Our event is a morning. We have over 9,000 participants. This year we're going for about 10,000 as a goal, and it's organized as a regional event, so we have regional pit stops all over the metro area. We're actually going to be adding many more DC pit stops this year, about 10 within the District of Columbia. And participants sign up on our website and they ride to work, and that's what we want them to do. And what we've organized is our pit stops around the region that commuters can stop at, get their free Bike to Work Day t-shirt, which is always a big draw. Many people have Bike to Work Day t-shirts from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and wear them with pride. So it's good to have something free to give away to entice people to participate in events. And the pit stops will have water, they'll have food, they'll be giving away bike lights or raffling off prizes, whatever they can do. Many of the pit stops will bring in local elected officials or the boss of a company to come out and speak and talk about the importance of biking to work its effect on the community and health and the environment. So it's a large event, and WABA also organizes 20 commuter convoys, which are led by experienced bicycle commuters that come from all over the region and pick up new riders, inexperienced riders along the way, and a great deal of experienced riders as well as they head towards different pit stops. And we've got some rides, some commuter convoys that have been going on for years and years and years. And I remember one convoy leader telling me last year, I never see some of these people on bikes except for Bike to Work Day. They're out, they know that the convoy is coming through their neighborhood, they wait patiently and hop on the convoy and ride downtown DC. So it's a really great way to build some community and get people who are a little bit less experienced out there with experienced riders. And Bike to Work Day here in DC is co-organized by WABA and then our Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments, which is our MPO here. So with the two of our organizations organize it, and then we have an assistance by many, many other volunteers at all the pit stops organizing their individual spots. So it's a big event. The way that we reach our participants is a wide range of different marketing outlets, and I'm going to go through these in detail after this. We've got a series of posters and rack cards and banners that are all consistent across the region. Our Council of Governments organizes radio ads through some of the sponsorship. There's newsletters and websites and emails and blogging and press releases, Facebook and Twitter and Flickr. So we're lots of different outlets that we're exploring and using to reach our participants, which is very important that we have a variety of different outlets. And a few things to think about as we plan our marketing themes, our strategy, is we want to make sure that our work is regular and consistent across the outlets. So we'll spend some time writing really good content that we will use in all of our different outlets. So our website content will match and be consistent with content that we put in our newsletter. It will be consistent with Facebook posts and be consistent in emails so that people are getting the same information and that it's consistent, has the same tone. One thing that I really like to emphasize in our marketing is tracking our efforts. So making sure that we can figure out a way to see that the time that we spend on Facebook are increase in participation. And then growing our reach. So every year we bring more people into the event. We want to make sure that we are capturing their information and we're inviting them to participate the next year after that. So growing that reach. And then we are a small nonprofit, and many of your bike clubs and other organizations are small and have limited resources. So we like to find things that are efficient with all of those. And I would like to just take a second and make sure to emphasize that if you have a question, please feel free to punch it into Scott or raise your hand. There's a lot of information here, and I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to ask questions if they have them. We'll also be having some time at the end of the presentation to answer questions, so feel free to stop me. I want to talk a little bit about let's get back there, to our newsletter. We produce a paper copy newsletter quarterly. So we call it Ride On, and it's goes to about 4,500 members of our organization, and it shows up in bike shops and at all of our tabling events. And this is one of our primary ways of getting information out on paper. And in preparation for Bike to Work Day month and Bike to Work month, we will have a large spread in the magazine in the spring edition, which will have new and exciting changes to the event. We will list all of the pit stops. It will have the websites. We'll put in an article about how to get your bike ready for the spring. We'll publish all the convoy routes and make sure that people really know how to participate in the event and let them know of any changes from the years past. One thing that I have a hard time with our newsletter, and we're working on how to figure this out, is it's difficult to track our return on investment. It's a very expensive process to produce a paper newsletter. 4,000 copies is not cheap, and the mailing's not cheap, and the time and effort that goes into writing articles and printing and doing all the layout is not a cheap endeavor for our organization. So I'm always trying to figure out how we can figure out how effective that is at reaching our members. One method we've been using recently is an interactive electronic version called Issue, which will take a PDF and turn our newsletter into a document that can be scrolled through on your computer, and all the links are actually active, so we can see people coming from that website. And we're doing some experimenting with QR tags and unique links. So we'll put a little funny looking barcode that kind of sits on the top of a package, a UPS package that can be scanned with a smartphone, and we can track the incoming traffic to our website from that QR tag. So we're going to be experimenting with that this spring and seeing how many newsletters get read out there. And like I said, some ways to save some money and some paper trees are make sure to send out your newsletter electronically. Give that option to your club members as a way to receive the newsletter. More and more people are opting into getting that newsletter electronically. The reason they ride their bikes is to reduce their impact on the environment, and they'd like to do the same thing in how they get their web information. This is a big effort for us is the WABA website. We put a lot of time and energy into keeping this current and to get our information out there as far as all of our events, all of our advocacy work, all of our education classes, which is ironic because currently our website is malfunctioning. It's down right now, so if you're one of those people who's already drifted off out of the webinar and are checking your Facebook page file, if you head over to waba.org, you will notice we're having some technical issues. So that will come into later in the presentation about ways to make sure that you're backing up your data and you've got backup plans for backup plans. So it's really important for us to keep it current, keep it dynamic. Our homepage is actually being pulled out of a blog, out of a WordPress blog. So as we post stories up there, they get automatically pushed to our homepage. Very little updating work as far as actually getting in and editing the website. All of our staff can get in and write blog posts and get current content out there. It's really important for us that links, especially our events and donating to our nonprofit and becoming a member is on multiple places on the website. So as you navigate our site, you'll see links to things in multiple places. We use a cloud database called Salsa Labs, or Democracy in Action, to handle all of our registration and donation processing. So you'll see as you navigate our site and you click to register an event, actually will go towards another website that handles all of that, which is really helpful for our staff that we're in multiple parts of the city, and it's great to be able to log into the cloud database and check on event registration, check on current membership information, and get that anywhere. And we use Google Analytics to track our traffic, making sure to see where traffic's coming from. How are they finding our website? How long are they staying on our website? What are the most popular pages? All of these things are really helpful for us to keep our members and our supporters on our website. So we're always watching that. And so a tip for you is set up Google Analytics on your website. It's free. It ties in real well if you use Google AdWords for advertising, and it's pretty simple and easy to install. If you need help, ask the webmaster in your club or somebody who might have a little IT experience. You should be able to have it up and going in less than half an hour. And then back to our registration database. I touched on this just a minute ago, but we use an online database called Salsa, and we're able to keep track of all of our supporter members' contact information, so names, emails, and addresses. It actually would let us know how they came to find us. And we can actually track our participants' participation in all of our events and their donation history, how many Bike to Work days have they been to in the past, what other events do they come to. When we're doing the actual registration for Bike to Work Day, we ask a few little quick marketing survey questions. How do you hear about Bike to Work Day? We want to know what methods people are using to find out about us. And that's useful information for our supporters. Let's jump back there. This is also our online database is connected to our email database. So we send all of our email blasts out of Salsa Labs, which is a great way to tie in things. We can track how many of those emails get checked and how many people are coming from our emails to sign up for our events. And it ties it all well together for us, so we can really have a lot of data to drive our decisions. And we also track all of the different other interactions. So we use this database for our advocacy and for our education pieces, efforts, and we want to see how many people come from our emails and sign our petitions for safer streets in DC. The website is right there, Salsa Labs. So if you want to check them out, there is a free services out there that you can do some of the same sort of information gathering. A great system is Google Docs, and I've used that in multiple different organizations, and it's pretty simple to use. It's very much like Microsoft Word. You can actually set up customizable forms and embed them right on your own website to gather sign-up information or people who are looking for more information from your club or organization, and then it will save it into an Excel sheet on Google Docs. And that's really a great way, a great cheap and free way to gather information, to store it. Used it many times in the past. Email. Email is very important for WABA and I hope for your organization. It's a great way to reach our members, and it's free for the most part. Currently our database has over 25,000 email supporters, so these are people that have attended our events in the past, who have signed our petitions, who have given us money hopefully at some point, but are interested in maintaining a relationship with WABA. And so we keep that database active and are currently always trying to find ways to get more people involved and get them in there. We send out a regular email blast called Event Hub. You can see it over there on your screen. And during the busy season, it's definitely bi-weekly. When it gets a little colder down here, we may slow down the emails, but this is a great way for us to announce all of our upcoming events, rides that we're doing, different happy hours, and especially Bike to Work Day. As Bike to Work Day gets closer and closer, we'll actually start sending out special Bike to Work Day emails probably once a week, reminding people to sign up, to let their coworkers know to sign up, to tell their friends. So constantly doing that, those emails, and we've been working really hard to put together a clean, simple template that matches the rest of our email and marketing efforts. As you actually can see, just want to keep things consistent and clean. And what we'll do from our email blast is give everyone a little quick teaser about an event, especially Bike to Work Day, and let people know any changes or information, and then push them to come to our website. We want them to come to the WABA website and look around and browse and see what other things that we're doing in the community. We don't want to just give them all the information in the email, so we're always trying to get them out of email onto our website or onto our Facebook page. And Salsa, which is again that database we use, helps us track information coming out of emails. So it will track the links getting clicked, and it will track registration generated, and we can also track people subscribing or unsubscribing or forwarding, and also any donations that come in through those emails. So it's really helpful to get all of that data. So if you're using email in your club organization and you're sending mass emails out of Gmail or out of Outlook with those BCCs, that's all data and information that you're not capturing. So I really suggest take some time and look into a good email system. iContact or Constant Contact have really inexpensive plans for small email lists, and there are others out there for sure. It's worth the investment from an organizational standpoint to gather that information and to figure out how people are learning about these events and how they're interacting with your efforts. You'll be very surprised with the data that you'll get. Blogging. This is a new thing for us down here in DC. Blogs are where a lot of information is disseminated, and so it's an important tool for us organizationally to have a blog and to post there. As I said, we've been having some issues with our server, our web server, so our blog is currently down. If you actually go to waba.org/blog, you will see nothing, unfortunately. Hopefully I'll have that up in a few days, back with no issues. So as I'll say later, it's important to have backup plans, and it's important to have your data backed up. So if you're not doing that, take some time and back up your data. We use a WordPress structure for our blog, and we've actually built our WABA template on top of that. So it's a seamless between our website and our blog. We post up there probably 3 to 7 times a week about events, education, advocacy issues, and we're planning a Bike to Work Day series of getting ready for Bike to Work Day, getting your bike ready, maybe how to route plan and practice your route before the big day, how to get other people at your office excited about biking to work, all of these things, and we want to give a little short blurbs about how to prepare for the event, and so we'll be doing that in the weeks leading up to the event. And we have our blog set up to push information to our homepage and our subpages, and then it actually will push blog posts to our Facebook and Twitter accounts. So it's we want to make sure that people are seeing them, that they don't have to come to us for the information, that we're actually pushing it out and giving it to them. So we're always looking for ways to get the blog posts out. And we've discovered that it's a great way to generate content, and we're actually able to take some of the content from our blog and modify it and almost reuse some of it for our newsletter. We found that a lot of our members who may be really big newsletter readers may not be following our blog, and so it's a great way to get that information out there and save us a little bit of time. So think about, again, how to create good content and use it across all of your medias. Facebook, and maybe Scott, if you have a second, you could pop up that survey question.
Okay, I knew that. Let's see. I don't know if you can see that, Greg, but 55% of our attendees took the poll are using Facebook and 45 are not. So I will just hide that.
Great.
And
Thanks, Scott.
you're welcome.
So Facebook for us has been a great tool for connecting with our supporters, especially our most involved participants, and we're expecting more and more time to be spent there and using the tool to reach supporters. Currently, we have 2,200 fans on our Facebook page. We post about 10 to 15 their blog posts. They post up their pictures from streets that have trucks parked in the bike lanes, and great links to good articles out there. And so we're constantly mixing our information and information that helps push our mission. So as we get closer to Bike to Work Day, we'll be using Bike to Work, our Facebook page to promote Bike to Work Day, to let people know that it's coming up, and when registration will open, how many people we have registered, and how close we're to the goal. So it's a great way to zip off a little bit of information, and we can watch that information as it passes around the Facebook world. It's a great way for our fans and supporters to interact with us. So we'll get questions, trail conditions, and if we can answer them, or certain advocacy issues, we can interact with them. So it's really important to monitor the Facebook activity and to respond. It is two-way. It's not the website where you post information and leave it, because people have come and ask questions. Really build relationships with supporters that stay active and attentive. We'll use the events page to draw support and attention to certain events. So big tool for us. And like I said, this is we'll be having a good plan for the Bike to Work Day month, Bike to Work Day, the entire month. Get people excited event. As far as some ideas for it, it's a really great way to update some people on certain updates for the event, but it's also a really great way to thank sponsors. So if you're out there seeking sponsors for the event, you can actually tag sponsors and see if we got some questions. Maybe having some.
Greg, can you say something real quick? It's louder. That's not a whole lot. It's a little bit better. It's still breaking up a lot. I was trying to mute you quickly and see if that helped. I'm going to take back the presenter real quick and then give it back to you. Just that helps. Again, sorry everyone. About the time I showed the poll results, you started breaking up quite a bit. Can you do something now, Greg? You there?
Yeah, I'm still here, Scott. Am I
we're still having some echo and problems, but it's better now. Okay, can you say something else there, Greg?
This is a little quick check. Is that sounding a little bit better there?
It does sound a little bit better. We're back to it. I may avoid putting any more poll results up since that seems to cause it. Okay, again, sorry everyone. I appreciate your patience. And if you would just go ahead and carry on, I would back up just a little bit because just as you started talking about Facebook, we lost you.
Sure. Let me do a little quick Facebook review. Important tool for us. Excited for Bike to Work Day. We're posting somewhere between 10 and 20 times a month, and we'll mix our mission-driven posts, posts to become a member and sign up for events with interstate events happening in DC and happening with the bicycling world in general. But it's really important for us to make sure that Facebook is a two-way tool. So members and supporters can quickly ask us questions, and we can respond to them much faster than email. So it's really important that if you are using Facebook, that you maintain that connection and maintain the activity there and respond. Don't let those questions go unanswered or comments unanswered. And it's a great way for us to promote Bike to Work Day and build excitement for coming into it. And so we post updates about people who have registered as we get close.
We're losing you, Greg.
Using Facebook for. Still losing me?
Yeah, you're going out for a brief period. Is anybody else hearing that? Just give me a quick question if everyone's having that. Confirm that we're having that problem. No one else complaining. Maybe it's me. Why don't you go ahead, Greg? Sorry about that.
Okay. I had to duck home, so I hope some of my roommates aren't downloading movies or watching TV. So hopefully that's not the issue. On Facebook, to tag supporters and sponsors, and it will pop up on there. There we go. Twitter is, again, another popular Facebook social media, and we have about 1,200 followers here, and we actually have been using a little software bit that will push our Facebook status updates to Twitter and kind of hit two different networks of supporters. But it's important for us to make sure that we're also following the information on Twitter. So again, it's that two-way, the way to tag a tweet, and we're going to be using something like hashtag Bike to Work Day, and that way we're going to be encouraging in all of our promotional materials for our supporters to tag their tweets with Bike to Work Day. And so as we get closer to the event, we'll be promoting that more and more, and that way throughout the day we'll kind of build some network and some tweeting buzz up there on the blogosphere and Twitter world of Bike to Work Day experiences, and asking people what the roads are like, how many people are at different pit stops, how are the roads and how are cars responding to all these bikes out there. So it's a great way, especially for an event such as Bike to Work Day here in DC, where it's so spread out that often you may be the only person riding your bike and you feel alone, but knowing that there are 10,000 other people out there riding is a great way to connect, and we'll do that through Twitter. So it's a good tool for us. So I want to make sure that if people have questions, they're getting a chance to ask them.
Greg, I actually have a couple of questions lined up for you, if I may. Scott?
Go ahead, Andy.
The first one is, WABA obviously is the advocacy voice and does a lot of events and sort of community building type stuff in the course of your work. How do you relate to the Potomac Peddlers, which is the big recreational club in the area, and what's the kind of interaction or overlap, or how do you figure out what each other is doing and complement each other?
That's a great question, and I bet that applies to many of our listeners. Having both the advocacy and education organization and the large riding club partnering is important, and so we each have our separate missions and our separate activities. They've got a full list of rides. I was actually just looking at it the other day, And a lot of our events are rides, but we also do a lot of late night activities or happy hours. And so we'll figure out ways that where our events and where our groups will overpass and can connect. And for example, we help promote one of their large Century rides, and in return they also come and promote Bike to Work Day, and they're a sponsor for us for that event. So there's give and take. You know, we don't necessarily follow each other on a day-to-day basis, but on big events we definitely are there supporting it and driving supporters and members to each of our events.
Okay, that's helpful. Thanks. And the second question for me is, you know, I've been in the area for 20-some years, and Bike to Work Day for the first 15 of those years was a pretty solid 500 people in Freedom Plaza every year. Come hell or high water, it really sort of was remarkably consistent, but never seemed to grow. But then all of a sudden, it started to take off. And as you said, it's now 9,000 people and counting. Do you have any idea of what made it take off, what happened to make it just start to grow exponentially, and how we can learn from that in other communities?
That's another great question. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see some of that early explosion, but maybe we're seeing some of the early explosion to what Bike to Work Day will be in a couple of years from now. But from even this past year to the current year, bringing people in, reaching out to businesses and employers, thinking how to get them involved, how to get their employees involved, encouraging people that have come in and supported the event to grow their program. For example, we have a gentleman who organizes some pit stops out in Prince William County, which is 2 counties out into Virginia, a quite suburban area, and they're going from 1 pit stop in Prince William County to 6. And he's just really excited, and you know, those pit stops may be small compared to some of the ones in downtown DC, but it's important to grow those connections and relationships with different organizations. And we're reaching out to transportation organizations, to schools, and to businesses, and to anybody who's got cyclists involved in their organization and wants to take on some responsibility and be involved. We reach out to them. So last year we had about 35 pit stops. This year we're going to have 50. So every year it's just growing that way, and every organization that comes in brings new cyclists and people into the program. So you're absolutely right. For many, many years it was a small event, but it's growing very, very quickly for us.
Great, thank you. Scott, what questions do you have?
I had one here that was just clarification. I think I answered it from an early on slide guide. You had a distinction between supporters and due-paying members, and you just explained that distinction for one of our listeners.
Sure. WABA, we have due-paying members. It's a annual membership fee of $35, and some of the benefits of WABA membership, besides the feel-good feeling of supporting your local bicycle advocacy group and getting more bike lanes and better conditions for cyclists, is our supporters will get discounts at local bike shops, and they get our newsletter that actually only goes out to members, and a whole list of other benefits. You can actually find them all on waba.org. And then our supporters are people that have participated in an event, have signed up to follow our emails, maybe have donated but decided not to become a member. And so we still keep track of all of their information as supporters.
Okay, great. Push on. We've got taking care of the question to come in.
All right. I only have 2 more slides, so we'll just finish up here. Some other things that we do to reach out. We're at tabling events, different employer fairs, health fairs. So we're always talking about Bike to Work Day. On our community rides, we'll talk about Bike to Work Day. We've got happy hours and meetups that are going on, and we'll always talk about the next events. We actually teach a lot of the league's smart cycling classes, so we'll talk about Bike to Work Day and actually prepare classes in preparation for Bike to Work Day to get people ready and prepared for riding. We use a lot of internal employee networks, so use some of the HR departments and get them to put up posters and other things. And many employers around here will actually have a in-house cycling club, so we'll reach out to those groups as well to get that information. So they're pushing each other to get involved. So lots of different other ways to get out there and get the information to new members, especially new participants. And my last 2 little cents. kind of mentioned a bunch through this presentation is tracking your efforts, making sure that your effort and your time is well spent and that it's growing your event. As I said, backing up your data. We've run into that a little issue here at WABA, but luckily we had some good backups. But also having backup plans, so if your internet goes down or your documents don't save or Facebook stops working for some reason, you have something else going on. Don't put all those eggs in one basket. And as I said before, we're also a large organization. We can have a lot of staff time dedicated to preparing for these events. But it all started small. We started as a volunteer organization, and we started with one employee and grew. But making sure that everything that you're doing, do it well. So if you're going to get into Facebook, make sure that you're there and you're spending time and connecting with people. So do that well. Again, here's my contact information, greg@waba.org. It's the best way to get a hold of me. And answer questions both after Griff presents and also offline if people would like to send questions.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and try to go ahead and try to share the result of the other polls before we transfer the presentation. Again, I hope it won't cause problems. How are you communicating with your members and supporters? 81% are using a website, 94% are using email, 50% are using newsletters, 50% are using Facebook and or other social networking, and 6% indicate other. And the other question was, how are you reaching new members? With special events and printed materials being tied 63% each as the most popular methods, 41% are using social networking, traditional media outreach to radio and papers and things, 37%. And I will hide that and hand over control to our final panelist, and who would introduce him.
So while that switch is going over, I'll just say a quick word. This is Andy Clark, and I'll say that Griff is, I would say, classic. It's more than that because Griff himself is, Griff, you're an LCI, right? You're also one of our ambassadors, and the Bluegrass Cycling Club is missions for the league. So not just any old club, but also a very typical club that does a lot of the stuff well that we're talking about this evening. So Griff is going to run us through some of the online and other activities that the Bluegrass Cycling Club does in Central Kentucky to promote and market their activities. Take it away, Griff.
Thank you, Andy. This is Griff Valley with the Bluegrass Cycling Club. A little bit about our club is we were founded in June of 1970, so we're still on our 40th anniversary. And like Andy said, we just for 2009, we won Club of the Year, and we're applying for this year too. And after seeing Greg's presentation, I'm glad he's not in our region. And a little bit about me, I've been at LCI for 4 years, and I've been on we start our official board of directors where we elect all our members. I'm one of the 12 board members, and I still focus on education in different parts of our club. As you see on the website, that's our main website, and it's got a little technical difficulty, so bear with me. As you scroll down, we're rolling out a new bicycle club jersey, and talk about prices, and then we talk about our members. Our biggest way of communicating is obvious. And our third biggest way is the social media, Facebook. We haven't really gotten into Twitter or Flickr yet, but we'll look into those options right now. I'm going to go. This is the first one that we put out. Actually, this was last May. We used to have a paper newsletter for more than 5 years, and 2 years ago we decided to discontinue it because a lot of our members just didn't seem to show a lot of interest in submitting things or picking it up and looking at it much, and everything was going online. And then this last year, someone gave us the idea last winter to start an e-newsletter. So this is our first version of it for May, and we send that out to all of our members by email, and then I also put it through our Facebook, they'll email to the club when they join. newsletter took off so successfully, we had to sit down and figure out guidelines to publish it. So during the off season, we do it once a month. During the busy season from March through the end of October, we push it out twice a month. That's probably one of our, besides our website, that's the biggest way we get news out. Our Facebook page and our website is open to all people who are interested. There's no private things or hidden things. And this is our current version, and obviously we've changed it a lot. We've tried to improve it. Just talking about things going on, board retreats, our new members, a bike shop we got going on, renewing your membership, our Big Horsey 100, stuff like that. And before I jump back to the social media, did anyone have any questions about newsletters?
Don't see anything right now.
Okay, well, going on to the social media, I'm the admin and or assistant admin creator of some different bicycle-related sites. I put this up for the local mountain bike site, which just wrote out their first website just a couple weeks ago. I made that for them a couple years ago. I got involved with Facebook around beginning of 2008, and since then I've done a lot of local groups, athletic groups, and some businesses. And then another site I did a couple years ago that has really taken off too is this Bluegrass Triathlon Club site. And that's another bicycle-related site. And we cross-post, like if you look down here where my mouse is hitting, I cross-post BCC things between all the bicycle sites to help advertise. And then this is our BCC site where I put the newsletter through. We have almost 550 members. I let people post whatever they want. As I scroll down, you can look at that. Our club currently, as of December, we were going into about 625 members. So, and that's the largest our club's ever been, ever. Did anyone have any questions about social media or Facebook?
I have one question. I wanted to know if you're doing any blogging as well as the newsletter and social media.
Did we do any what? Excuse me?
Blogging?
What did you say, Scott?
Do you have a blog?
Well, we're doing, actually, we have a Twitter account, and that's something we're going to get more involved in the next coming year. We did, jumping back to our main Facebook, our main website, if you look down, our webmaster did add a comment button, like right here where my mouse is. We can make comments on things that people can ask questions or answers on a lot of things on here. But we don't have a blog right at the time now. We're getting ready to do a major IT change and update a lot of things.
So how much time are you spending every week on the? Yes, how much time are you spending on the social networking aspects for the club every week, do you think?
Website is based on my talks with the webmaster, who I'm close friends with. He probably spends at least 2 or 3 hours a week updating the website for people at a minimum. So probably at least 8 to 10, probably more than 10 hours a month. On the social media part, not much. It maintains itself, and when you have more than one admin, they take care of things too, because I'm one of two different admin on it. So there's not a lot of time involved. The most time involved with Facebook is actually setting it up and putting the newsletter through it, because one disadvantage to Facebook is it doesn't let you send out anything HTML or PDF, and you can't attach anything. So you have to anything you send out, like our newsletter, we're trying to send out HTML right now. I have to put that, when I put it back in Facebook, it messes up the format, so I have to straighten the format out. That's one downside to Facebook. Right now we're trying to send the newsletter out HTML. Our club is staying away from PDF e-newsletters because of all the memory it takes to send them, and a lot of people, and the difficulties a lot of people have with opening those emails. So, and then I was going to go back onto our main web page that talks about our Horsey 100, which is a great event. I encourage you guys to come check it out. And then a couple things that Andy asked me to bring up for the different club members to watch, maybe to encourage some discussion. One was education and philanthropy, and I'm clicked on that now. And when you click on the funding, it brings up our funding guidelines. This year we decided to get very organized with our website and our club. And we're actually funding education and philanthropy and bicycle-related organizations. And we're giving grants out for people to apply. That's in our funding cycles and our funding categories we have too, in our application process and requirements. And then what I'm very happy about as the LCI is the club for the first time ever is doing education reimbursement. So any BCC member who wants to do LCI training or even become a USA Cycling certified coach, they apply for this, and then we reimburse up to 50%. But they also, if you look down the page, they have to agree to teach to do so many hours with the club over the year. And then if they continue that, we also will reimburse them for their recertification for the most part. And I just think that's to me, that's really revolutionary because of the LCI. Went on the LCI listserv, and there's not a lot of organizations who will pay for LCI training in USA Cycling. So, and it does come with some stipulations, but that's natural with the course. And then the other thing I was going to show you guys is we have our interactive ride calendar. This was last August. So we have a ride. Some of our main stages on March 1st through October 1st, we have at least one ride per day, every day of the week, if not multiple rides. We have them all different paces from A, which is advanced, down to C, which is beginner, or N, which is novice, beginner 2. All different locations. You just click on one, and like I can highlight one now that tells you like firing range is one of our ride locations, and it tells you what time, and it tells you the pace. And then which I think is a great thing to have. So so even if you're, one great thing about all of our social media and websites is even if you're a non-club member, you have complete access to everything. So this encourages people to join. And another thing, but this is what we have currently, and that's when you go down and click, you see the map library there. And then you see different areas in and around Lexington, Kentucky. And I just chose Winchester to show you what it would look like. So it brings up a detailed map of Winchester so you can design your bike rides. Now, we are a social riding club. We've been that way since 1970. But in the last 5 years, we have become very advocacy, philanthropy, education-minded, and we realize we have to really give back to the community, which is why we donated over $1,000 to help Lexington put up Share the Road signs around the whole city and the county. And we have club members that sit on the local Lexington advocacy board called the Mayor's Task Force. We have a club member or two that sits on the state board, which is the Kentucky Bicycle Bikeways Commission. And like Andy said, I'm a former LAB ambassador. And so I think advocacy, education, and bicycling go hand in hand. And now that I have just talked forever, does anyone else have a question?
I think we do. I hope you can.
Hello?
Scott, there seems to be
Go
a
ahead,
delay
Andy.
between some of our connections, so I'm gonna keep playing on. And one of the reasons I wanted Griff to raise those points was the open access to rides and the ride calendar is a topic that I think is interesting. I feel sure there's probably a club or two on the call that feels like that's prime information that they need to sort of keep a hold of to encourage people to join the club, and yet you're happy to just put that out there for anyone as kind of an incentive to come visit the site and find out about the club. Scott, do we have the capacity to see if there's someone and unmute someone to argue for keeping this stuff behind the membership wall or something?
Let's see if anybody wants to raise their hand to make that case. Alan Forkosh, Grizzly Peaks List, has his hand up. Alan, are you raising your hand to make the case?
Yes, I am. Yeah,
Okay,
I am.
you're on.
Okay, I'll take the hand down first so it won't cause any problems. Our club partially is open and partially closed. We basically, our map database is out there. Basically, our website is an old-style HTML website. We've got an area called for members only, but there's no real security on it, and our map library is down in that. In terms of our newsletter, you need to join the club to get it. We actually, just about a year ago, started offering a lot of delay. I'm sorry. I'll slow down. Anyway, and most of our members now take it in PDF. One of the interesting things we have found, we may be, being out here in San Francisco area, we may be more on the technological edge, but we find people are able to read these on electronic devices and put them into e-readers and such, which really knocks paper down these days. The interesting thing is people made this choice even with no discount on dues, despite the fact printing the newsletter and mailing it is probably the major cost of membership. And I'm done now. I hope that came through clearly.
Thanks, Alan.
Scott, can I answer those questions?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind you guys. When Scott's recording this, if you want to use our guidelines or look at our website and copy anything, we are not copyright protected. Just give us credit. A lot of discussion and careful thought, and even had usually at least one lawyer present, and that was also a bicycling club member. So we'd love to help any club we could. As far as the newsletter guideline question I got to ask if they could copy it, that'd be fine. Mapping program, we just bought a new mapping program, and we're hoping to transition that in to use. A lot of our members have used Map My Ride and various other programs. I noticed that more and more of our members who are high-tech gadget heads, so to speak, are actually using their GPS and mapping out rides and using that software to post to Facebook and or the club website so people know what they did. So did anyone else have more questions?
Griff, what's the BCC forum on your website?
What's all what?
What's the forum?
Oh, that's just, well, I'm actually going to have to open that up, so hang on. That's just, if you see, that's a basic form that most websites have. That's why I haven't really gotten into it. It's typical to active.com or anything. We just have different themes. On our website, probably the most popular part is the homepage and our forum, and a lot of people like to post to the rides where they talk about different rides. And as you see, as the club's gotten older, we try to not only talk about rides, we want to talk about racing, we want to talk about mountain biking, we want to do tech talk, we want to talk about education and cyclists. We started ultra distance cycling last year, 2 years ago. We started talking about commuting. Last year, I brought up let's go ahead on multi-sports for our triathletes and do athletes. Different stuff. I'll click on rides so people can see what we talk about. We have a ride key on our form as a designation. Our club rides are open to everyone, just like our website and our Facebook page. To be honest, when the website came online, and some of this I was against it, but after a lot of lengthy discussion with various officers and websites, I decided the best way to attract people and let the club grow is to keep everything as open as possible. So,
thank you. That's really helpful to get that perspective. And do you see much?
I guess one thing I wanted to say, Andy, before I forget, is our club actually, first-time members, we don't pay. They just sign up, and we don't. And we had that in our Club of the Year award last year, and it wasn't so much for lower-income people. It was to get people to join and see if they liked it, and hopefully they would continue and pay in the years afterwards.
Sure.
And I have a question. Non-members are covered on our first ride, and they're covered for every ride after that. We don't tell them necessarily they have to walk away, but if a non-member keeps coming to a ride for an indefinite length of time and we realize they're a non-member, we'll encourage them to join. And like I said, the great thing is first-time members are free, so all they have to do is fill out the membership form because it won't cost them a penny for the first year. What were you going to say, Andy?
Or transfer you see from the forum to the Facebook pages, or if they're two completely different universes of people who just have different ways of communicating, or are you seeing it shift from the forums on the website to the Facebook pages?
I'm slowly seeing a shift from the forum to the Facebook page, but it's really slowly. I've noticed that some of our members are more prone to post things in other groups, not the BCC. That's why we keep mentioning our BCC Facebook page and our newsletters to get people to post more things there and make it more active. That's why if you went to our Facebook page, you see me posting a lot of stuff as often as I can. Still, probably the biggest, for the most part right now, there still seems to be the Facebook form users and the form users on the BCD website and the Facebook users. The people who are online a lot will cross-post and so on. Any more questions? There was an article had a question about LAD insurance. We actually called American Specialty and asked them that, and they said as long as we have non-members sign our ride release forms at the beginning of every ride, then that would help us in case something happens.
Okay, thank you very much, Griff. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us through some of the technical difficulties. I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up now. I think we don't have much of a backlog of questions. I know there was a question about insurance, and any other questions that people have, you can funnel to me. We'll try to get Greg's presentation up on the website along with this recording of the presentation, and also their interest in Griff's guidelines for the newsletter. We'll get a copy of that available too on the League Club Corner. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you all at the next Club Leadership webinar, which is March 15th, about club rides, prides, and group ride leadership, unless forgotten. So anyhow, I hope to see you all soon, and thank you very much for joining us.